So, ladies and gentlemen, I have Shane Johnson with me, the one and only Cooper Saxe on Power. Shane, talk to me a little bit about how you're feeling today. The easiest question you're probably going to get.
Man, I feel great. Well, first of all, it's actually you caught me on an interesting day because it's almost my birthday. And so I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling
When
good.
is that birthday, by the way?
Well, it's February 29th, which doesn't happen this year. So I don't actually have a birthday this year, but if I did have a birthday, it would most likely be today.
Well, we're going to celebrate it, and I'm going to wish you a happy birthday anyway, man. Happy birthday,
Thank
my
you.
brother.
Thank you. But I'm 11 still, just for the record. I've only had 11 birthdays, so I can't drive, I can't drink, you know, but
Yeah. Well, you passed the eye test, man.
that's
Um,
right.
a lot of hype's getting built around Power. We're about 2 weeks out, a little bit more than 2 weeks. March 17th is coming to you. Talk to me a little bit about what fans should expect, just off rip from episode one.
I listen. I think that this season is crazy. It's crazy. We go, every year. I feel like the goal is to how can we top ourselves? How can we get more wild? How can we take the audience on a new ride, something that's unexpected, so that we're not just giving them more of the same. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so I think that they should expect a lot of twists and turns, a lot of unexpected stuff. Some shocking things, I think, and some cool revelations. And obviously, I can't get into any details without getting fired. But the fact is it's really some really exciting stuff. And and I think the audience is really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and speaking of that exciting stuff, I don't know if those are videos from the episode that you are putting on your Instagram. I seen one post talking about, now that you're getting in the mix with the bad guys, you're three-waying a deal and things of that nature. Is that in this season, or was that something we missed?
No, you know what that's about is Stars put out the PR this year, the poster. And if you look back through my post, you'll see this. They put out a poster, and I wasn't in it.
I saw
And
that.
so I gave them a hard time. I put myself in it, and I was like, "Oh, there you go. I fixed it. What an oversight on your part." And honestly, like, I'm going to be a dick for a second and say, like, they made a mistake. Like, the fact that it's like they forget what show they are sometimes. Like, this is Power, and there are only. I know that I'm being a little brazen by saying this, but I'm one of the very few people that are still around from the beginning of the show, and so it's an oversight for them to not include me in stuff. And so I was having fun with it, and I was like, oh, okay. And so those posts that you just saw from yesterday are actually them going like, hey, we can do this too. And so they photoshopped me into like scenes that I would never be in. And so that was what that was about.
Okay, because I was looking at, I saw exactly what you're talking about. Everybody had on red, and I was like, did Shane not get the memo? He's over here, he's got blue on, and then he looks like he was cropped in. I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I cropped myself in, and then they took cutouts of me and dropped me into, like, a scene where Tate was on a date, and then some scene which was obviously like a drug deal. And
mhm.
so it was just we're just having fun with it. We're just having fun with it.
Nah, that sounds like a lot of fun. But you touched on something else that I want to talk about, and that's being on there from episode one, the pilot, and now you're still here, somehow making it through this Power universe. I
Still
mean,
kicking.
you're still kicking it, Shane. Do you expect to be around this long, especially seeing the exits that we saw?
No, no. I mean, honestly, it's one of those shows that almost every episode, but certainly every season, I think we're all wondering,
Mhm.
is this it? Am I done after this? And so it's definitely a blessing to still be around. And I thought after the first season of Power, I was like, I don't know if they're going to bring me back. And then after the second season, I was like, okay, I think I'm going to come back, but are they going to kill me? Season 3, because that's when everybody started dropping. And then, you probably noticed if you watched all of Power that in that office that I work in, pretty much everybody in that office was killed except for me. Or else they moved on to some other job, but they are either were killed, moved on, or it was me. And so felt like Neo in the Matrix dodging bullets. So it's been honestly the ride of a lifetime. It's been great. I'm very happy with what I've done on the show.
No, and you very much should be. We think about the development of Cooper Saxe, the character that you play. Been a lot that's gone on from you came from like the snarky lawyer, the district, the person who wants to lock you up, to now becoming like we begin to see him. I think Riley was the first family member that we ever saw introduced to him. For those who don't know, Riley is Cooper Saxe's niece, and then now he has love interest, and now he's kind of like on the fence. Am I doing the right thing by working with Method Man McQueen, or should I break away? How much more development are we going to see from your character going forward? And if you can disclose it.
Well, I think you're on the right track. I think what starts to happen is he starts to really be more and more sort of torn between his loyalties. His loyalties are really tested moving forward, and because there's definitely an affinity for McLean, and McLean sort of saved his ass, right? Because he was going to have to go work for the family firm and stuff like that. And so McLean comes in and says, hey, come work with me. And so he dropped me a lifeline. And I also think that I have an affinity strangely, for Tariq, because, Tariq is somebody that I was about to throw my life away in season 6 of Power. And I walked into the club with a gun to change my life forever,
Mm-hmm.
and he beat me to it. So him beating me to it kind of freed me up to not be that person. And so in some ways, the fact that I'm trying to kind of nail him for that murder a little bit, but also know the fact that, Jesus, he did that. He basically took the heat for me. And so I think that there's also a bit of a wanting Tariq to straighten out, wanting him to kind of grow up, wanting to actually see him turn a corner. I don't think that Cooper, he wants justice ultimately, but I think that he doesn't necessarily care about like the incarceration type justice. I think he wants this kid to change his ways and to be a better version of his father, and I think that if Tariq all of a sudden turned a corner and was on the straight and narrow and went legit, that I think Cooper Saxe would lay off. It's the fact that he knows that this kid is just getting himself deeper and deeper into this world that kind of draws Cooper Saxe in deeper and deeper.
No, that makes a lot of
But
good sense.
you also brought up the thing about the love interest, which I think is really, I mean, listen, I'm so thankful to Courtney for developing this character as much as she has. Like from the beginning, as you know, he was kind of the snarky sort of character in the office, like you said, who was kind of a thorn in Angela's side. We all know that. But it was rather just in that pocket. That was the character. And by introducing my family and then my niece and then a love interest and then a partnership with Davis McLean, like each one of those things has really just given me as an actor something so much richer to play, just like different levels. And so it's been an incredible journey, and I've gotten to do so much on the show, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, and speaking about doing so much on the show, I mean, we take a step looking back at your career, man, and just some of the things that you have tried to get going. I mean, I think I saw that your first credit on IMDb was Saving Private Ryan, and
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about that. How was that?
Well, back then I was studying at a place called Lambda in London,
Mm-hmm.
and they posted some. I'd never even had really. That's not true. I'd had like one professional audition prior to that, but I was in college, and there was a post. Somebody had put a poster up in London at the school that said, auditions for this Saving Private Ryan. And I remember thinking, like, what a stupid name for a movie. Like, who would now it's like part of our vernacular. It's normal. Everyone would be like, that's not a stupid name because we know it. But at the time I was like, this is really a dumb name. And they turned it into porn a bunch too. They're like Saving Ryan's Privates. If you haven't seen it, it's a classic. But so anyway, my friend who was a photographer at the school was also an actress. She took some headshots for me. I didn't even have headshots, and I went and I got an audition for it, and got Saving Private Ryan, and spent like 3 weeks filming that in Ireland. It was we shot all the beach stuff in Ireland, and it was great, man. It was an incredible. I mean, for my first movie to be working with Spielberg and Tom Hanks and Vin Diesel and Tom Sizemore was a great actor. I mean, he's having some issues now, I think, but he's personal issues, but he's a great actor, and he was great in that movie. Giovanni Ribisi, Adam Goldberg. I mean, the list of actors, even Matt Damon and Nathan Fillion was in it. That was Nathan Fillion's first movie like that too. He was, if you remember, Nathan Fillion was like the fake, not the fake, but he was the wrong Private Ryan, where they take him aside and they go, "Hey, we have to tell you, your brother's dead," and he's like, "What? Understand?" He's like crying because his brother is like a 9-year-old or something.
I remember that. I think I do remember that. I do
That was
remember
great.
that.
But so anyway, that was a great experience. And then, then I went back, finished school, moved down to LA, and then that's basically when the movie was coming out. So it was kind of nice. It helped me get a little boutique agent at the time. I think because I didn't have any credits other than Saving Private Ryan, but I think they were like, well, listen, if Spielberg will work with this guy, then other people will too. So that was nice. And then since then, listen, you're in Atlanta, right?
I'm in Savannah, close to it, like about 3 hours away. But I know
Okay.
what you're talking about. I go there all the time.
So I'd never really worked in Atlanta until maybe the last year. There's so much work there, and I shot in a series there, a couple episodes of a show called Them, which is just like a fantastic. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's the first season is out. It's kind of like a Jordan Peele kind of thing, but it's Little Marvin's show. But it's kind of like dark and macabre and rich in texture, and it's just a great show. If people are listening to this or reading this or whatever, check it out. And then I just shot a film there a few weeks ago, and so I've been kind of getting to fall in love with Atlanta, which is nice too.
Man, are Georgians going to see you come down here more often?
I mean, listen, I guess the last 6 months I've been down there, probably about a month. So it's been fun. The last time I went, the weather wasn't amazing, but but that's okay. I went in November, December. The weather was great during the time I was there. And I was down by like what they call it, Olympic Park, I think, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Downtown there. I took a solo ride on the big Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
It was very romantic for me. It was great. I love it. And there's a lot of Power fans there too, so that was fun as well.
Oh man, we love power. And speaking of the weather, it is tearing me up. That's why I got this box right here, because pollen is no joke out here. So I'm sneezing all over the place. But didn't you even study theater in college? Or how did you go about that route? Was that, I know you graduated, but I was just wondering.
Yeah, I studied, really I was kind of the first kid in my family to go to like a 4-year university.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on an acting scholarship. So I didn't really know what I was doing, but I got a scholarship for for this college called Whitman College, which is a liberal arts college, which is in Walla Walla, Washington. And actually Leela, who played Angela,
Mm-hmm.
Leela went there as well. Like she graduated from there as well. We didn't really know each other though. I'm a few years older than her. A few. um, and then from there I went and I studied it at Lambda, which is the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. It's kind of like one of the more prestigious acting schools that you can find. And I felt like a fish out of water. I was like, oh, I don't know, these guys are going to be amazing, and I'm not going to know what I'm doing. But the reality is it's just like any place. You're kind of like, oh, this isn't so bad. And a lot of great talent came through there. A lot of people have gone on to do great things. I believe Chuetel was there at the time as well. And then and actually Mark Feuerstein, who plays like the DNC guy on the show,
Mm-hmm.
On Power. He went to Lambda as well. We both studied there.
Oh man, look, all y'all hooking one another up, man.
Yeah,
But
I wish that's what it was, but it's just circumstantial. I think the thing about a school like that here, and this is, I think, what happens is usually people that go to a school like that, they don't go to the school because they're better than anybody else. It's more that they're more serious about the craft, and so I really wanted to really learn about the craft. And so I studied Shakespeare. I studied, the history of theater and dance and fight choreography. And I did all the things that you would do in a sort of a classical dramatic program like that. And I'm glad I did. Now, the funny thing is that a lot of people skip all that and just come to Hollywood and get on TV shows or, have huge careers. A lot of people don't as well. There are more people who don't have big careers than people who do. But I feel like if you have that training, you can always fall back on it, and I've continued to study. I study to this day. I study acting.
no, and I actually know somebody who was in the class with you. They told me. I think I forgot which one it was, but I know it's there in L.A. The guy's name is Arius Kakis, but
Richard Lawson.
Richard Lawson. Yes, he told. I remember we were taking a class together. We were taking Meisner class at the Sanford Meisner Center, and he said, "Yeah." I said, "I watch Power all the time." He said, "Yeah, man, I got the guy in my class is on Power." I said, "That's nice." So
that's cool, man. Yeah, Richard is the truth, man. He's been my wife's as well. She's an actress as well, and he's been our mentor's teacher for since 98, 99. So like 20, 24, 25 years. And at this point he's family. And so it's he's a great teacher. The thing I like about him too is a lot of acting teachers proselytize. They talk about acting and what you need to do and how you should approach things, but they don't really know because they haven't done it, or they're at least not currently doing it. Like they were actors back in some previous decade, and now they're teachers. And I feel like if you can find an acting teacher that actually is doing it in the industry and has a career, then they're evolving with the career, with the business, because as you probably know, in this business doesn't stand still. So the way we auditioned to get work 20 years ago is not the same as it is today. And
everything.
The business of the business is different too. Like, it used to be you'd get your headshots and a resume together, and that was all you needed to kind of get you going. Now there's so many other things, all the social media stuff and personal PR type stuff. Like all those things are so much more at play in this new unit of time. And if you're not up to speed on those things as an acting teacher, you're taking people's money basically, because you're teaching them, stuff that works in a classroom, like, hey, do some scene work and work on like, how you get emotional and depth and adding texture to the scene, and all that stuff's great. But at the end of the day, if that person doesn't know how to go out and get a job in the business, then all that teaching is worthless, you know?
No, I 110% agree with that. And I think that there's other people in the industry who agree with you as well. Going back to the industry, looking back at your career, you do private writing and things of that nature. I mean, there was a moment though when during your career, and I'm assuming that all you ever wanted to be was an actor, but there wasn't a moment like you were in the unemployment line and you were thinking to yourself, "Hey, I gotta make something shake."
Yeah, listen, I have a firm belief that if you if you are passionate about this business
Hmm.
and you persevere and you have talent, if you have those three things, if you're serious about the business and you have some talent, which everybody has talent, but you have to take what talent you have and continue to grow it so that it shines, right? Because some people have strengths in other places. And so you just need to take your strengths and build on them. Take it seriously, study, train, and if you persevere, you really can't lose. I've never heard anybody, people go, oh, the acting is so hard, the business of acting, and I would never do that. And I go, okay, fine. But here's the thing. I've never heard anybody go, I went out to LA or New York or wherever, and I studied so hard. I studied every week I was in class. I trained. I got agents and managers. I put myself out there, and I did it for 25 years, and I just never got any work, and I just never had any success. That just doesn't happen. If you persevere and you are smart about your approach to this business, you will have success. It's the people that come out and go, "Oh, this is easy. I can be an actor. I know what I'm doing. I'm handsome. I'm beautiful, and I can act or whatever." And they come out and they expect to like explode and be on a TV show and be rich and famous. Those are the people that fall away. And that's probably the majority of the people that approach LA. They come out, they last a year, maybe 2 years, and they're like, "What am I doing?" They go back home and they move on with their life. So I don't know if that was really answering your question, but to your point, you were asking me about the unemployment line thing. That was a moment. That stuff's humbling, and I'm actually really thankful that I've gone through some very humbling times in my career, because it also has helped me to never take this success that I have for granted. Like I've never I can always look at somebody that is not where I'm at and it's on track to be where I'm at and appreciate where they're at. And I think a lot of actors forget themselves. I think a lot of actors who get famous, make a lot of money and get famous quickly and don't go through the hard times, they kind of they forget themselves and
Mhm.
they can become assholes. They can become jaded. They can become demanding. They can think that the world owes them. And I don't feel that way at all. I know what it's like to be going, how am I going to pay my bills? And am I going to lose my car? Am I going to lose my apartment? Can I feed myself? I know what that's like. And I think because of that, no matter how much success I have, that's always there's always a bed of, hey, it can be like that too, you know?
No, that makes a lot of good sense. And then, just even going further back into your life, you think about how you got started into acting. Talk to me a little bit about that. It was with your school program, you were doing a couple plays, correct?
Yeah, initially it was funny. I didn't really want to be at the time. I think I would have eventually been got into acting naturally because it's something that makes sense to me, and I'm always been artistic and all that kind of stuff. But I had a teacher who kind of pushed on me to audition for the plays and stuff like that. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do your plays, you know. And he kept kind of at me. And then eventually I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll do your play. I don't know who I thought I was. I was like, yeah, I'll do your stupid little play. But I don't want to have any lines and I don't want, I just want to be there and not have any pressure of like having to memorize lines or perform. And so he kind of crafted this thing where it was a You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and he crafted this character for me, which was called Tumbleweed, which was Snoopy's cousin, right? And so I would just periodically throughout the play, I would just roll across the stage like a tumbleweed. I mean, it was so dumb. And then a few days before we opened, the guy that was playing Snoopy got kicked out, and the drama teacher was like, "You have to. We don't have anybody else. You've got to do this." And so then I think because I didn't really have time to think about it, I stepped up and did Snoopy, and I thought, I was just terrified. We did it. The response from the audience, and I was young. I was like 13 or something. And the response from the audience and the girls and all that sort of response that I was getting was just so amazing that I was like, oh my God, like I am fantastic. I am amazing. I remember feeling like, oh my God, I'm really good at this. And it's the funny thing is that I've seen tapes of that performance. I was awful. I was terrible, man. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't. I wasn't singing well. My movement was weird. I mean, I was like, but I did it, and and that's where I kind of got the bug for pursuing acting. And I mean, I know you. Oops, sorry about that. I know you know this, but one of the things that's been interesting for me too in my journey as an actor is that the guy that got me into acting was I guess he was a predator, I guess is how you'd say it. He took advantage of me and groomed me and molested me for years and shit like that. So that was the only thing about that was hard. Well, I mean, obviously there's personal stuff that's hard about it, but the thing that was hard about it, industry wide, was that it was interesting when I started to have success here in Hollywood. I felt like he was going to be somewhere out there, like taking credit for it, like going, "Ha, I knew it. I knew you were going to make it," and kind of, you know what I mean, like feel like he had something to do with it. And I feel like that thing that was inside of me sort of sabotaged my career for a while, because I think I was afraid to honestly be successful, because I didn't want him to own it. And so it took me a while to get over that. And it also took me a while to just kind of confront the fact that all that had happened to me, and sort of to take my acting career and my passion about the arts and sort of separate that from him and that whole experience,
No, that makes good sense. And so, how do you persevere past a moment like that? Some people probably have no idea.
Well, to anybody that's here's the thing, man. I know we're running out of time, aren't we?
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So here's the thing. I'll be fast about this. This is what I think, man. My story is not unique. It's almost the number of people that go through experiences like this is insane. The percentage of people in this country that have been groomed, have been molested, have been raped, have been taken advantage of it's not like 5%. It's like probably 50% of the people in this country. And so so many people can understand and appreciate what I've been through. That's part of the thing that helps me, is I kind of go, people know this. This is not like a unique story. It doesn't make me special. It doesn't make me better or worse than anybody. I'm just more willing to talk about it because I feel like other people can hear my story and kind of go, oh, hey, I don't have to shrink away from what I love either because of somebody else, or because of something that happened to me. And I think the main way to get, for me, the main thing, my main tool in getting through it wasn't therapy, wasn't drugs, wasn't, anything like that. My main my main way of getting through it was confronting it, acknowledging that it happened, taking some responsibility for it, and going, where's my responsibility in this? Within that particular situation, I'm not saying that everybody has responsibility in their particular situations, but I had some responsibility. I knew what was doing was wrong, and I didn't go tell somebody. I was afraid. I mean, I was a little kid, but I was like, I knew it was wrong, and I let it kind of continue to happen, and that's where my responsibility is. And because of the fact that I don't play the victim in it, then I can move forward. Because if I sit in being a victim with it, there's no way out. There's no way out, because you can't, there's no flipping that switch. He will always be the guy that molested me and took advantage of me if I'm the victim, right? And so I think that the way to do it is, first of all, don't be embarrassed about it. Confront it, acknowledge it, take some responsibility wherever you can find responsibility, own it, and then move forward. And those are your battle scars, man. I use that shit in my acting and in my life all the time. I use it with my kids, in terms of teaching my kids how to like watch for people like that. You know, it's made me, honestly, it's made me probably a better person. And this world is not, this world, I mean, you just look back over the millennia of this world. This world's not kind. This world, can treat people like shit. And I'm no different. And so we just, our goal is to survive and be stronger on the other end of it. That's really all I have to say about it.
Perfect, man. As time's winding down, I mean, Shane, is there anything else that you would like to add that I did not already ask?
Well, I guess I don't really have anything to add. I would say, I look forward to the next chapters. I look forward to my growth into other avenues. I'm looking forward to expanding, my audience and my I've been doing during this last hiatus, I tried to take advantage and do a bunch of other things. I've done a bunch of other TV shows and doing some movies and stuff like that, and looking forward to, because the power fans there's nobody like them. There's nobody like them. But I also feel like to a degree we've reached capacity. Like we've got this like collective family that's all part of this power universe. And it's 15 million people or something like that. But there's a vast world out here that we still have to conquer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of good sense. That makes a lot of good sense. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the man himself, Cooper Saxe, aka Shane Johnson. Shane, I'd like to thank you for coming on, doing this with me, and taking the time, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.